Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are here in the Cherokee Batting Range podcast studio getting ready to record episode number 119. We're going to talk about coaches being prepared, that old Boy Scout motto of always being prepared. So we're going to talk about that today. Before we get into that topic, though, let's talk about our sponsors. First, the Anderson Bat Company. Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. It's a great way for you to save a little bit of money on a great bat and also help support everything fast pitch at the same time. And as always, please become a patron if you can. Patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. Coach Don and I are very fortunate. We have a great group of patrons that are supporting us now. We would love to add you to the list. It's either $5, $10, or $20 a month. As we head into the new year, we want to be doing some new cool stuff, and all that stuff costs money. There's just no nice way to say it. If you're in a position where you can help us, if you see value in what we're doing, please come on board and become a patron. So, Don, we've been doing this long enough that we've seen all of these nightmare scenarios come true. Your player catches a screaming line drive and comes running towards the dugout because her glove lacing just broke. She stops to tie her shoe and realizes that her shoelace is broken. She slides into second base and slides in a little bit hard and scrapes her knee, and all of a sudden you can see the blood kind of leaking through the pants a little bit. And on and on and on the list goes of things like that could happen. And our responsibility as coaches is to kind of start thinking ahead, start planning ahead, and have a little bit of a toolkit, some things, I guess the emergency kit that we need to have at the ballpark so when that stuff happens, we're in a position to solve the problem as effectively and efficiently as we can.
So I was going to say, we're going to go through a long list, but by no means is it going to be the end of the list. And
right.
I'm always excited when somebody comes up with something a little different or new that could save the day.
Right.
And that's exactly what it is trying to get through that moment and keep the athletes comfortable and safe. And, any of the things that we're about to talk about could be just that, the thing that saves the day.
And the one thing we want to make sure that when we talk about this emergency kit, I'm not talking about that every coach has to have the glove repair tools that I have. I've gotten now to the point where I can fix just about anything in a glove when a glove gets broken.
Almost relace the whole thing if you had to.
And honestly, even figure out ways to kind of stitch together broken leather and rips and tears and those kinds of stuff. And you don't need to have all those tools. But you do need to have enough stuff with you that if your shortstop comes running over because her, the lacing between her fingers of her glove just broke and her glove's flopping around like some sort of crazy thing that has, no control for her, that we can patch it together enough,
get
it back together enough that she can keep working with it. Because the one thing we all know is whether it's logical or not, if you throw another glove to your shortstop and send her back out there without her own glove, the very next ball that gets hit to her, she's probably going to boot.
It's tough enough as it is, right?
It could be a 13 hopper that she would make that play every single time from now until the cows come home, but because she's out there with somebody else's glove on, it's going to feel awkward or different for her. So things that can happen all the time. Obviously, we've already talked about your glove breaking. So if you have a replacement lacing kit, that's great. If you don't, shoelaces can be used, zip ties can be used, all kinds of different types of contraptions can be used to...
Some nice nylon rope from Home Depot.
To stitch it together enough to hold it together temporarily so then you can take it after the tournament's over and actually get it really fixed.
Sure.
So those kinds of things are a great place to start. Athletic tape, duct tape, electrical tape, all of the tape family should probably be in your emergency kit. So athletic tape because maybe we need for some sort of athletic type of injury, but maybe it's just to fix a bat grip that got tore up a little bit. Every once in a while, depending upon the tournaments you're playing at, sometimes when the umpires check bats, they kind of look at them from 15 feet away, and as long as they're not on fire or buzzing because of radioactivity, the umpires are fine with you using them. But there's other times that they're going to check them really closely for cracks and rattles, and they'll check the grips to make sure that the grips are good.
Or safe, right?
Yeah.
So I've even noticed sometimes that in the electrical tape is slippery. They won't let you put electrical tape on, so your athletic tape might be the
Right.
fix, and or to have just a new grip that you could
A spare bat grip.
Yeah.
Yep. Those kinds of things I think are must-haves. Obviously the first aid stuff that we should always have. A couple of Band-Aids,
Maybe
some
the
eye
instant
wash,
ice.
the instant ice bags. All those kinds of things I think are obvious things that we should probably have. Some spare uniform essentials.
No doubt.
A belt just in case the belt breaks. A couple of extra pairs of socks. So if that same player who slid and scraped her knee, if she bled through her socks and her pants, depending upon where you're playing, some places probably don't even care. But there's some places, as soon as they see blood on a uniform, they're going to expect that player to have an alternative. They're going to expect them to be changed and into something that doesn't have blood on it.
But also, too, inevitably, as much as we try and make sure that everybody has all their gear there, somebody forgets socks or a belt or, one part of their uniform, and it's like, oh gosh, what are we going to do?
Yeah. But and then there's lots of other, simple little things like that if we're planning ahead, some extra lineup cards and maybe an extra scorebook if you use a scorebook. I mean, I know that makes me sound really old in this day and age when everybody is doing everything electronically. But those kinds of things that can happen, that do come up missing, that come up, that we just need on game day.
Hair ties.
Yeah.
We got lots of hair. We have a blowout. We need hair ties now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you have to spend on this emergency kit? I bet you could put together an amazing emergency kit, hand warmers, shoelaces, a couple pairs of socks, some feminine products, a couple of Band-Aids, some eye wash or eye drops.
How about eye black, right? Eye black.
Some eye black. The hair ties. I think I might have said that already. You've got a list of 10 or 12 things that probably for less than $50 or $60.
An extra visor, sunglasses.
Yeah,
nice cheap
extra
pair of
hat,
sunglasses.
Yeah, all that different kind of stuff. Because again, anybody who's listening to this podcast, I would bet you everything I own that if we said, Coach, you can win one more big game this year, but you're going to have to invest $50 in random crap to carry to the ballpark just in case you need it.
Done deal.
Everybody does it. I mean, come on now. Hand up.
It's a done.
Hand up.
Deal.
And if it was a championship game or a national championship game or a big tournament or a game against your crosstown rival who you really want to beat or that other school that you just despise and you would give anything to beat, then the number probably goes up to hundreds of dollars that we would spend to guarantee that we had whatever we needed in that emergency bag
no doubt.
to get through the game. And so, the types of things that we're talking about is kind of go through your little mental checklist of the things that you've seen happen, the things that have happened during the course of your career, and how many times you've had to see the dad out there in the parking lot trying to figure out a way to stretch that lace 3 inches further than it's really meant to be stretched because nobody's got a suitable piece of material, whether it's a zip tie or a shoelace or a piece of tape or whatever it is, to hold their daughter's glove together for a little bit. I mean, Stan even was telling us the horror story of a player's dad who had to leave the field, drive over here to Cherokee batting range because they knew Stan was going to be here, so Stan could fix their glove for him so he could race back over to the ballpark
for the
to get her
game.
glove back.
Yeah.
Unless you're lucky enough to have a Stan or somebody like that at your beck and call that's going to be able to solve all your problems, we need to be able to solve them ourselves.
No, I'd be excited to hear, Tori. We go through our list of things, but I'm sure there's other things as well that some coaches might keep that would save the day.
Right. Well, and it's going to obviously depend on the age group a little bit. It's going to depend on the climate a little bit. So I always invested in hand warmers.
Right.
Because to me, there's nothing more.
You can't feel your fingers.
Yeah, more difficult than you go to throw that ball across the infield and your fingers can't feel anything. Having a hand warmer in your pocket so you can keep your hand warm for a few extra seconds in between plays was a no-brainer to me. And so the fact that I would go to Walmart or outdoor place or whatever and buy a case of hand warmers a couple of times a year was a small investment. Because again, to me, if it meant we were going to win one more game, it was the best idea ever.
How about the buttons, Tori? The buttons that go on your helmets for your chin strap,
yep.
Right? I mean, or the screws that hold the cage on.
Yeah, and I would say the screws that hold the cage on is one of the most amazing things because when that thing starts wobbling around when it's loose. Now, obviously, part of your emergency preparation plan should be a
Screwdriver.
screwdriver.
Yeah.
So you can check them every once in a while and tighten them up every once in a while. But here's something about the face masks that's really troubling. All these different companies, the screws all look alike, but they're not alike.
Different threads.
They all have different threads. And so it's kind of a trap. When I was working in the sporting goods business, the store I worked at had this big giant tray that had to have 3,000 spare screws in it.
Find the one that you needed.
But there would be times that you'd get that one helmet that would have the one random type of thread. You look at it, it looks like it's about the same size. It looks like it'll go in the same hole, but you get, like just barely get the thread started in the receiver in the helmet, and it binds up because it's not the same size. And now you can do the caveman thing and force it in there, but I promise you're going to have problems then when it's time to take it apart and try to put it back together again. But again, another really good thought, Don, about something else that would be useful to have.
The catcher straps too for their shin guards and stuff like that. I've had cases where you lose one, and to not be able to secure that is kind of maddening.
Right. And just think about how uncomfortable that catcher is out there when she's one strap short of what she normally has to hold her shin guards on.
Which one am I going to go without?
Yeah.
Right.
So when we're asking her to run down to back up a ground ball at first base,
she gets a pass on that day, Tori.
And because she's missing a strap, her shin guards are spinning around her leg while she's trying to run. So again, that idea of having that extra piece of equipment is a really good idea.
You could start when you're 8U and maybe not ever use it until you're finally needing it when they're playing 16, 18U. Yeah.
So just a quick review of stuff we've talked about already: zip ties, shoelaces, hand warmers, nuts and bolts and screws, every type of tape.
All your Band-Aids.
And on that list is going to go. But again, go to Sam's Club, go to some of those places. You can stock up and put together a really good kit.
When you order your helmets, ask for some extra hardware.
Yeah, and put that stuff together all in one place so that you've got it all figured out. And again, we all see the carts and the different contraptions that everybody's toting around at the ballpark. So let's make a little corner in there that we're going to have the emergency kit. And you're going to be very, very pleased when you see how it impacts your team positively when you've got that stuff at the ballpark where you need it.
I think that's all good stuff right there.
Yep. So, Don, that's going to wrap up number 119. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that discussion. Make sure you check out our sponsors, Anderson Bat Company and patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. Please check out fastpitchprep.com. That's where you can order your Square Cuts training discs. Check out the blog. Check out the YouTube channel. But go and order your Square Cuts training discs. They're $49.95 a dozen. We'll get them shipped out to you right away. So for Coach Don McKinley and our producer Stan Lewis, this is Coach Torrey saying thanks for listening. Everybody have a safe and happy holiday season, and we'll talk to you again next week.